Hi everyone, it's Bella, and today I would like to go over the general energies for 2026. And I have titled it The Great Reckoning, From Ego to Ecosystem. The year 2026 is a profound turning point, characterized by the tension between the individual and the collective. The central theme is a cosmic push to dismantle outdated, ego-driven structures, Leo South Node, and build new, innovative, community-oriented systems with the North Node in Aquarius. Now this plays out under the disciplined, demanding energy of Saturn in Aries, which forces us to take individual responsibility for this collective future. It's a year of tough love on a global and personal scale, where dreams, Neptune, must meet reality, Saturn, and where our personal rights are tested for the alleged benefit of the whole. But on what sacrifice, Neptune, and who defines the benefits, Aries? Do governments still work for the people? A chronological walkthrough. The first part of the year, from approximately January to March, Jupiter will begin the year in retrograde in the sign of Cancer. So we begin with a call to look inward. Jupiter retrograde in the sensitive sign of Cancer asks us to reassess our emotional foundations, family dynamics, racial and other migrant divisions, weapon control, service or overreach through those in uniform, our sense of security, our sense of belonging. Before we can build the future, we must heal the past. This is also a time for taking a second look at our nutrition, our intake, where our food comes from, and the ingredients in what we eat, what we buy, and who we support when we purchase food items. We may find more engagement in family conversations, a need to nurture our inner world, to spend more time in prayer or in nature, and around those we value most, such as family. Avoiding major real estate decisions will be a good idea during Jupiter's retrograde, and also avoiding emotional overindulgence. This is a good time to build a stronger emotional and spiritual foundation. From February to March, we have more of a cosmic reset button, as this could possibly be one of the most critical periods of the astrological year, if not the decade. On February 17th, there will be an annular solar eclipse in Aquarius. This eclipse kicks off the main event, activating the Aquarius-Leo nodal axis. It signals a sudden, fated beginning, focused on innovation. An old system, perhaps financial, social, powerful, governmental, begins to crumble, making way for something new, more technological, and more automatic. The Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees Aries will take place on February 20th, 2026. This is the signature event occurring at the very first degree of the zodiac, the bridge between the past and the future. It marks the beginning and the end and the beginning, and a true rebirth of structures and ideals. The world ground zero point of the world axis. The challenges, Saturn, reality, confronts Neptune, dreams, illusions. Human rights violations, collective illusions could be shattered. This could manifest as scandals where leaders or institutions are exposed for misconduct, linking to Saturn in Aries' theme of accountability. Laws on religion, spirituality, natural medicine, astrology. Saturn-Neptune conjunctions have repeatedly aligned with witch hunts, bans on herbal medicine, and the policing of Neptunian spiritual practices throughout history. For example, the publication of the Malleus Maleficarum. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that. Let's try that again. Malleus Maleficarum from 1486, the infamous witch hunting manual. Herbal medicine, midwifery, and folk practices, Neptune, were demonized and restricted by institutional law, Saturn. And in every conjunction in history, there has been some tie to this, if you do your research. Redefinitions of what is considered real medicine or legitimate spirituality, or the certification rulerships for clarifying who may practice. A digital Neptune ID, Aries, and digital currency, Saturn-Neptune cycle, begins in Aries, possibly. Historically, there was a Saturn-Neptune conjunction in 620 BCE at 2 degrees of Aries, and that timing perfectly aligned with the birth of coinage in Lydia, Turkey, when symbolic value Neptune was fused into physical medium, Saturn. Optimistically, it's a chance to build Saturn new systems, sextile Aquarius, that are actually aligned with our spiritual and humanitarian ideals, Neptune, our views versus the collective view, our human rights over our own identity, biometrics, our brain having choices, freedom of expression, of speech, of movement, free will, freedom period, etc. The how will be driven by Aries' pioneering spirit, possibly by force, but Saturn's strength here could strip the individual of fear, the shadow of Aries to stand strong in their personal faith, Neptune, and be willing to fight Aries for their rights. Even more so supported with Uranus just recently direct on the 3rd of February. We may see many more people willing to stand up for their truth. A lunar eclipse in Leo on March 3rd. This eclipse brings a dramatic emotional climax related to the South Node in Leo. It forces a release of ego, of pride, of loyalty, and outdated leadership models. Public figures, leaders, governments may fall from grace, step down, pass away, or we may collectively witness the passing away of the world as we knew it. Jupiter stations direct in Cancer on March 10th, and with the eclipses and the conjunction underway, Jupiter moving forwards here provides an emotional green light, so to speak. The insights gained during its retrograde can now be applied, giving us the confidence to nurture and protect the new seeds being planted. The spring and summer of 2026. Mercury retrograde will be in Pisces for February and March, and in Cancer for June and July, as well as in October and November in Scorpio. So all our Mercury retrogrades this year will be in water signs, very feminine energy. But let's begin with the spring and summer of 2026, with Mercury retrograde in Pisces for February and March, and Cancer June, July. With Mercury retrograding in water signs, communication is intuitive, emotional, and potentially foggy. The nervous system may feel more frazzled. This is not a time for pure logic, but for listening to your gut. It's a time where you may revisit past conversations, healing emotional wounds through conversations and talking, and creative downloads are highlighted in this period. It would be a good idea to double check communications and to avoid misunderstandings clouded by sentiment. Of course, all the normal general notes for a Mercury retrograde still applies, but this will be more of a focus where we may also reflect back very much on our childhood, our womb time, so to speak, and how we have been nurtured, what we have been taught, and where we are going now. The spotlight shifts in July and August, especially from July 2026 to August of 2027. Now, Jupiter will enter Leo on the 29th of June for a year. And as the North Node pulls us towards Aquarian collectivism, with the North Node in Aquarius and Pluto already there, Jupiter in Leo will magnificently illuminate the South Node where we're meant to release, as the South Node will be in Leo. And this creates a powerful tug of war. The amplification with Jupiter expands Leo's themes of creativity, children, leadership, romance, education, and celebrity culture. And these are the themes that may dominate headlines during this time. There will be a surge in artistic expression and charismatic movements. The reckoning, however, with the South Node here, this expansion may also be a test. The shadow side of Leo, which can be ego, arrogance, betrayal, pride, and the cult of elitism or personality, will be magnified and exposed. Education systems will change and continue to do so, with Uranus also in Gemini for the next 7 years, and Pluto in Aquarius changing the world as we know it through technological innovation. The eclipses this year will ensure that any overreach, Saturn and Pluto, is met with a karmic correction. It's a year to express your creativity generously, but not arrogantly. Autumn of 2026. There will be a Mercury retrograde in Scorpio in October and November, where communication takes a deep psychological turn, hidden truths surface, power dynamics in conversations are revealed, and this is a potent time for therapeutic breakthroughs and emotional catharsis. Venus will be retrograde from October 3rd to November 13th, 2026. And Venus will retrograde from Scorpio into Libra, forcing a deep review of relationships, values, finances, and beauty. In Scorpio, Venus will be retrograde from October 3rd to the 25th, where intense past relationship dynamics can resurface, issues of trust, power, control, as well as intimacy may be confronted. Old lovers may reappear for karmic completion. In Libra, Venus will be retrograde from the 25th of October to the 13th of November. And the focus shifts here to balance in relationships, the give and take, fairness, partnership, one-on-one relationships. Are your relationships equitable? This is not a time for new commitments, but for reevaluating existing ones with clear eyes. What contracts have expired? What contracts need to have adjustments made to? Are you holding up to your side of the agreement? Are the agreements fair? Etc. Saturn retrograde in Aries will start in late 2026. After pushing us to be courageous and independent all year in Aries, Saturn stations retrograde, asking us to review our progress. Are we leading with integrity or with selfishness? How can we become more independent and secure? Practical solutions can benefit us. How have we been too impulsive? This is a time to refine our strategy, to rebuild our confidence from a place of humility, and practice patience. Frustration with delays is likely but necessary for long-term success. Saturn in Aries and the North Node in Aquarius is the core directive of 2026. Saturn in Aries demands we take personal responsibility for our actions and courageously initiate change. The North Node in Aquarius dictates that this change should serve the collective good and not just the individual. To make movements and growth towards the future, it's about becoming a responsible pioneer for a better world. Saturn and Neptune conjuncting is the how. It provides the cosmic fuel to dissolve Neptune, the old structures that lack integrity, Saturn, so we can build new ones, Aries, with clear-eyed vision. Jupiter in Leo versus the South Node in Leo is the test. Jupiter jumps to tempt us with the glamour of the old world, fame, ego, drama, money, the bling bling, The South Node, activated by eclipses, ensures we are held accountable for choosing self-aggrandizement over collective progress. Pluto in Aquarius, the backdrop. Pluto's transit through Aquarius is the long-term undercurrent, the turning of the ages. It represents the profound, irreversible power shift towards decentralization. Technology, weather experimentation, radiation, DNA changes, frequency and energy work, aviation developments, extraterrestrial life, and a time for fueling collective empowerment, a wholesome higher order for humanity, or powerful governmental overreach onto humanity. Rulers versus the people. Leo versus Aquarius. Technology versus nature. By November of 2027, we will possibly see a transformational global order with Rahu and Pluto's conjunction at 4 degrees of Aquarius. A parallel? Exodus, the people break free of Pharaoh, but must wander before reaching the promised land. Freedom comes with trial. Some personal guidance for the year. It's a good idea to embrace responsible courage. Where in your life have you been waiting for permission? Saturn in Aries says, you are the authority of yourself under God, and through His guidance, take disciplined, thoughtful action. You have rights. Check your ego at the door when you feel the desire for recognition or a prideful reaction. Ask, does this serve me, or does it serve the greater good? Align with the Aquarian ideal of community. Let dreams meet discipline. That inspired idea you have, the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, is your cue to make a practical plan, Saturn, to bring it into reality. Communicate with emotional clarity this year. During the retrogrades, especially Mercury in water signs, slow down. Listen more than what you speak. Trust your intuition by verifying facts. Review and release in relationships. Use the Venus retrograde to understand your relationship patterns more deeply. Let go of what's unbalanced or power-driven or forced to make space for authentic connection. Let go of toxic. Stop chasing and become whole first. 2026 is not a year for passive existence. It's a year of conscious, courageous participation in the great turning of the age. As Nicholas Culpeper wisely said, everything in moderation. This is the key to navigating the intense fires of Aries and the expansive drama of Leo, always guided by the higher perspective of the cool and collective intelligence of Aquarius. The higher perspective, the higher vision, the higher frequency. The Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries resonates with the Tower of Babel, centralized control versus divine scattering, the golden calf idolatry of material systems, Revelation's mark of the beast, economic, spiritual restriction, and David versus Goliath, the people versus power. Saturn and Neptune at 0 degrees of Aries is the clash of control versus spirit, government versus the people, idols versus the truth. Like Babel, humanity may again attempt to centralize into one system. Like the golden calf, many may worship the illusion of security in exchange for their soul. Like Revelation's warning, economic systems may fuse with spiritual tests. Like David and Goliath, the people still hold the power to resist and reclaim freedom. Every Saturn-Neptune conjunction throughout history has redrawn the line between the sacred and the profane, the governed and the free. In 2026, it begins at the first spark of Aries. A new epoch where humanity must decide whether it bows to idols of control or walks in faith towards freedom. Together, Aquarius, yet separate as individuals. Parts of the whole, as the whole. The Saturn-Neptune conjunction of 2026 begins an age of trial. The idol of digital empires tempts humanity, while the fire of divine truth tests its faith. Between 2026 and 2032, the world will witness Babel rebuilt, Pharaoh dethroned, Goliath fallen, and Elijah's fire contested. The story of 1 Kings 18, verse 16 to 39. The prophet Elijah stood against the prophets of Baal, a false god worshipped by Israel's rulers. But Elijah and the Baal prophets prepared sacrifices and called upon their gods to send fire from heaven. The prophets of Baal cried out, cut themselves, and performed rituals, but no fire came. Elijah rebuilt the altar, soaked it in water, and prayed once. Fire from the Lord fell, consuming the sacrifice, the wood, and even the water. The people then declared, "The Lord, He is God." The message of the heavens is to step out of the spotlight and into the circle, to stand in truth, though giants roar. For the kingdoms of men shall fall, but the Spirit endures. For 2026, my overall herb of choice is rosemary, as it acts as a stimulant, tonic, and protector for the 3 core systems highlighted: the nervous system, the circulatory system, and the cognitive head region, bringing warmth, circulation, and clarity to areas of restriction, fogginess, and erratic energy. This is not medical advice, so please do consult your licensed medical practitioner for any contraindications. Thank you for listening. Please do check out some of my other videos of the outer planet transits and their more individual health connections as well, listed in the description box below. And if you would like to support this channel, please don't forget to like and subscribe. May the sun shine bright on you this day, May there be blessings coming your way. Until next time.